First, he created the most frightening film ever made. Then, he took his unique vision of terror one step further. Now, George A. Romero takes us out of the night, beyond the dawn, and into the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead.
There have to be survivors in Washington.
Oh, my.
They have more sophisticated shelters than this one. There have to be people in those shelters who know about us, who know where we are. With no radio contact, they'll come looking for us.
I said shut up! They can be tricked into being good little girls and boys. Same way we were tricked into it, on the promise of some reward to come.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead! They're fucking dead, and you want to teach them tricks?
They have to be rewarded, Captain. Why else will they do what we want them to do?
I don't want them to do anything but drop over! Those are my men in there! That's it. Run, you fucking lunatics.
George A. Romero's Day of the Dead, the most eagerly awaited day in horror film history.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Jarvis Podcast. And today I'm talking about the 1985 classic film Day of the Dead. It was at one point considered the final movie of George A. Romero's The Dead trilogy. Although later on they would have the movie, which was the fourth movie, the 2005 release being Land of the Dead. But we're talking about Day of the Dead. So Day of the Dead is a 1985 American post-apocalyptic zombie horror film written and directed by George A. Romero and produced by Richard P. Rubinstein. The third film in Romero's Night of the Living Dead series, it stars Lori Cardille, Terry Alexander, Joseph Pilato, Jarlath Conroy, and Richard Liberty as members of a group of survivors of a zombie apocalypse sheltering in an underground bunker in Florida, where they must determine the outcome of humanity's conflict with the undead horde. Romero described the film as a tragedy about how a lack of human communication causes chaos and collapse even in this small little pie slice of society. Work on Day of the Dead began shortly after the release of the previous film in the series Dawn of the Dead, 1978, but was halted when Romero began work on other projects. It was developed as part of a 3-film deal with that film's distributor, United Film Distribution Company. Romero elected to make the 2 other projects outlined in the deal, Night Riders and Creepshow, first. Although the filmmaker was given final cut privilege, the screenplay was rewritten multiple times due to UFDC's concerns that Romero's ambitious original vision, which he described as the Gone with the Wind of zombie films, would need to be shot with the intention of receiving an R rating from the Motion Picture Association of America to ensure its commercial viability. Romero elected to make the film on a lower budget and release it without a rating. Day of the Dead was filmed in fall 1984 with above-ground scenes in the cities of Fort Myers and Sanibel and underground scenes near Wampum, Pennsylvania. Tom Savini returned to provide the film's special makeup effects. He was assisted by a team of artists that included Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, who later became known for the series The Walking Dead. Day of the Dead premiered at Hicksville, New York on June 30th, 1985 and grossed and grossed $34 million worldwide against a budget of approximately $4 million. Although the makeup effects were praised, the film initially did not match the critical and commercial success of its predecessors. The series did not see another installment until the 2005 release of Land of the Dead. Reception of the film has improved with time, and Romero deemed it to be his personal favorite film in the original Dead trilogy. Like its predecessors, Day of the Dead has garnered a cult following and inspired numerous parodies and homages. The film was remade twice. The first is the 2008 film of the same name, and the second is Day of the Dead Bloodline. A television series based on the film began airing on Sci-Fi in 2001, while a standalone sequel, Night of the Living Dead 2, is in active development. So the plot pretty much is, it takes place after Dawn of the Dead. A zombie apocalypse has ravaged the entire world. A handful of surviving humans live within a secure underground bunker housing scientists and soldiers in the Everglades. The scientists are trying to find a solution to the zombie pandemic. The soldiers have been assigned to protect them. Dr. Sarah Bowman, her lover, and soldier Private Miguel Salazar, radio operator Bill McDermott, and helicopter pilot John Fly from their underground base to Fort Myers in an attempt to locate additional survivors. They find only a large horde of the undead and return to the base, where they are told that the military's detachment's officer in charge, Major Cooper, has died. Sarah becomes concerned over Miguel's worsening mental state, but he lashes out at her until she stops trying to help him anymore. Dr. Logan, the lead scientist, nicknamed Frankenstein by the soldiers because of his grisly surgical dissections of the zombies, believed that the undead plague victims can be made docile and domesticated through training and conditioning. He keeps a collection of captured undead for use as test subjects in a large underground corral in the compound. Sarah vehemently opposes Logan's conditioning research. Instead, she wants to search for a possible cure for the virus. Sarah discovers that Logan has been experimenting on the corpses of the dead soldiers, including Major Cooper. Scared that the other soldiers will turn on them, Sarah reluctantly keeps this a secret. And with that, she pisses off, I think his name was Colonel Rhodes. Let's see. I got a quick check on that. Captain Henry Rhodes. Sorry about that. And we later find out about other characters like John, radio operator Bill, and Sarah Bowman's lover, Private Miguel Salazar. Miguel is pretty much, in a way, very suicidal in this movie because he doesn't want to live anymore in this zombie apocalypse, where Sarah's like, hey, I can help you, and I'm going to try and help you. Well, he doesn't like that. Later on, they find out that Dr. Logan, has a zombie who's docile named Bub. Rhodes, although, is not impressed and loses more patience with the scientists. During a zombie roundup mission, a zombie escapes its harness when Miguel loses his focus, resulting in the deaths of soldiers Miller and Johnson. Miguel snaps and attempts to kill the creature, but another zombie bites him on the arm. With John and Bill's help, Sarah amputates and cauterizes Miguel's arm to stop the infection. Rhodes calls off the experiments and demands that all captive zombies be destroyed, as well as denying any further help from him and his remaining men. Sarah and Bill later go off to get medicine for Miguel and discover that Logan has been experimenting on Miller and Johnson's remains. Fearing that Logan has gone insane, Bill decides that they should leave in the helicopter immediately. Rhodes finds out that Logan has been feeding the flesh of his dead soldiers to Bub as positive reinforcement for his behavior. Furious, Rhodes kills Logan and seizes the remaining scientists and non-military personnel, stripping them of their weapons. Rhodes attempts to force John to fly him and his remaining soldiers away from the base, which John refuses to do. In response, Rhodes kills Logan's assistant, Fisher, locks Sarah and Bill inside the zombie corral, and orders Private Steele to beat John into submission. Back in the laboratory, Bub manages to escape from his chains and finds Logan's corpse. In a display of human emotion, he mourns the loss of his instructor, then picks up a pistol and goes in search of revenge. Meanwhile, a suicidal Miguel heads off to the surface. While the soldiers try to go after him, John knocks out Rhodes, steals his guns, and goes into the zombie corral to rescue Sarah and Bill. Miguel opens the perimeter fence, letting in hundreds of zombies, and allows them to feast on him before activating the elevator control box, allowing the zombies into the complex. As the undead swarm the bunker, Rhodes leaves his men behind to be killed. Chased by Bub, he desperately attempts to escape, but runs into a mass of zombies and is shot in the stomach by Bub, who mockingly salutes Rhodes as the zombies tear him apart. John, Sarah, and Bill make it to the chopper and escape to a tropical island. And it's actually quite funny that in the end of the movie, we see as soon as Sarah opens the door, Miguel kind of jumps at her. And it's kind of like, I would say, a dream, because when she wakes up, Bill and John are on a tropical island. And that's the ending of the movie. I mean, it is a very good movie. It was an amazing ending to the original Night of the Living Dead trilogy and the Dead trilogy. I wish that, they would have kept it a 3-movie trilogy and not added 2005's Land of the Dead, because Land of the Dead has nothing to do with it, really, other than it's called Of the Dead. And it just, I don't know, to me, it didn't need to be remade. It didn't need a prequel. Maybe a television series that would have taken place after the movie, so that we knew exactly what happened to them after they reached a tropical island. But now supposedly, and, since George A. Romero is gone, no longer with us, it's kind of sad that I think that it's really sad that we'll never get to really know what another Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead 2 or Night of the Living Dead 2 would be like, because he was originally supposed to be making other zombie movies before he died. Well, now that we have found out that there's supposed to be a Night of the Living Dead 2 set for 2022 release, so they probably already released it or canceled it. I really wish that we still had George A. Romero to make more of these films. I don't think Day of the Dead should have been the final one. I think he could have made more. But it is what it is, and the sad thing about it is that we'll never get to know what other ideas he had for zombie movies. But I mean, it's still a great movie. You got to give it credit for what he tried to do back in the day. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, phenomenal film. Dawn of the Dead, phenomenal film. And then finally with Day of the Dead, it was kind of like that 3-character arc movie where you have night where all the shit begins. You have dawn where it's the middle of it. And then with dead, it's finally the zombies have overrun everything. There's nowhere else to go. And it's a perfect ending where once they insert Land of the Dead in there, it's kind of like, well, is this supposed to be what happens when we come back from a zombie apocalypse? Or is it a dream sequence that takes place after Day of the Dead? But we never know, because Land of the Dead is kind of like that movie where it's just like, it's all over the place and it makes no sense. And so to me, I think Day of the Dead is the perfect ending for the Dead trilogy and for even George A. Romero's zombie films. But yeah, the future should look pretty interesting. I heard that his son was working on one of his dad's last dead movies after his dad had died. So we'll see what happens with that. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope you have a great day. And also, we want to share our condolences with Dana Carvey over his son Dex passing away from, I do believe it was a drug overdose. I'll have to quick look at that before I say anything. Yep. His son Dex Carvey died after an accidental overdose at the age of 32. We wish to, send our condolences to Dana Carvey and his family, and our prayers as well. And it's got to be terrible to lose a son, and a son at that age. He was still growing up, and it really sucks that Dana Carvey and his family have to go through that. But yeah, that's my episode for today. Day of the Dead. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. My rating for it is out of 5, I'd say 5 out of 5. Out of 10, I'd say 9.5 out of 10, because it does have a little bit of stupidity added in there. But for the most part, it's a very good movie. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of it. If you want to check this out, this will be on the YouTube channel and on other places that you can listen to the podcast. And if you're looking for a Twitch channel, boy, do I have one for you. It's called GervaisDemon, and it's a gaming channel where it's very fun, and I try and make corny jokes that don't land anywhere, but the gameplay is pretty cool. And if you want to check it out, I'd much appreciate that. We're doing a subathon where for every 5 subs, I would get hit in the face with a pie by my wife, Alyssa. And that goes on until the 22nd of November. Also, if you're someone on Twitch and you're looking for banners, emotes, and badges at an affordable price, go check out ShyninsWorld. She's an amazing, amazing content creator. And not only that, she helps make badge, emotes, and banners for a very affordable price. I personally love the service that Shy does with the customers, because she wants to make sure that she gets what your ideas are done. She wants to make sure that when you come to her with an idea, that she can make that idea a reality, either within a badge, an emote, or a banner. So go check her out. I will put a link in the description. Also, if you'd like to join our Discord, it's the Nuisance Esports Discord, and I will put that link in the description. Thank you so very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you have a great weekend. And I love you.